Alright, this final video, so the fourth in this revision of fractions worksheet series is, let's go to division. So we've got to scroll. So we just did multiplication, now we're looking at division. Now division does require an understanding of multiplication, and dividing fractions or your basic fractions is not that difficult. And I don't want you to think I'm being rude by saying that, but basically, so we have 3/5 divided by 3/8. And there is a massive helicopter over my house at the moment, so it's passing. So we write the fraction, the first fraction, always as it is. Okay, that's the only thing that doesn't change when we rewrite the expression. But the division sign now becomes a multiplication sign. And what we do is we take the reciprocal of this. Now the reciprocal just means we flip it. So instead of having 3/8, we have 8/3. Now just looking at that, the good thing is I can see that we can cancel out. So your multiplication, because we've got and it could be a 3 here or a 3 here. So any 3 on the top cancels out with any 3 on the bottom. So basically now I am left with, and I'm not going to bother changing my colour, is 8/5. Now that's an improper fraction. Let's try to write ours as a mixed number. So how many 5s go into 8 is 1, and we have 3 remaining. All right, so let's have a look at the second video. It's not the second video, sorry, I just had a phone call, so I get easily distracted. All right, the second example. So we have this time, when I use the keyboard, keypad instead of the pencil. Okay, so we're looking at 2 2/5 this time. So we can't divide until it's an improper fraction or a proper fraction, but we can't turn a mixed number into a proper fraction. It's an improper fraction. But basically what I mean is we can't use a whole number. Okay, so we're going to change the 2 2/5 into an improper fraction. So the 2/5 is fine, it's already into a fraction. Now we've just got to change the 2. Your denominator is 5, so I have to do the 5 here, and then 5 times 2 gives you 10. So oops, supposed to be a plus, 2/5, and we're left with 12/5. And then you do the same to the 1 3/5. So 1 3/5. Okay, so the 1 becomes 5/5, and then we've got the 3/5, and then we've got 8/5. Okay, so you can see that here, 12/5 and 8/5. This example is making the assumption that you know already how to convert. So if you're still having a bit of trouble, please ask for help, okay? But as I said in the previous video, I think it was the previous video, there's no, it's no big deal if you can't deal with mixed number fractions, because as long as you've got a basic understanding of fractions, for further maths you'll be fine. But if you're planning on doing methods, I assume you probably shouldn't even be watching these videos, because you should already have an understanding of fractions. Anyway, let's get moving. So we have 12/5 now divided by 8/5. So remember, the first part stays the same, so the 12/5 stay. The divided sign now becomes a times, and we take the reciprocal. So we flip the 8/5 to become 5/8. Now remember what I said before, can you see if anything cancels out? So is there a number that's on the top that's also on the bottom? And there is. There's a 5 here and a 5 here. So they cancel out, and we're left with 12/8. So how many 8s go into 12? There is 1. And what are we left with? 4 8s. And 4 8s is actually a half. So the final answer is 1.5. I'm not going to look through the questions on this. I might just see if there is another example though. Actually, we might do another division because there's probably basic division. Yeah, question 11. Okay, so let's have a look at question 11. Remember, you don't have to watch the whole video, so if you feel confident in doing some, you can pause it and then watch it how I've done it, but I'm not doing every question though. Oh, question 12 is interesting. We'll do that too. Okay, so question 11. So first of all, remember, where's my cursor? All right, so 2/7 stay the same. The first fraction always stays the same, and then we multiply and flip or take the reciprocal of. So instead of having 2/5, we have 5/2. Then we say, can we cancel out? Is there anything on the top that's also on the bottom? The 2, and that is equal to 5/7. Now I'm going to skip now to question 12 because just by looking at it then I can see it's slightly different to the examples. Okay, I might just do A and B. So first of all, A, what I mean by it's different, we've got a whole number here, we don't have a fraction. So just like before, we need to keep the first fraction the same, and then we turn the division sign into a multiplication and we flip this number. And you're probably thinking, how can I flip 5 when there's nothing on the bottom? But there is. We just don't write it. It's actually divided by 1. It's the same as we don't say 5 times 1. This is also 5 can also be written as 5 divided by 1. Just as 22 can be written as 22 divided by 1. What else do we have in here? 7 divided by 1. Okay, so if you need to change a whole number into a fraction, so let's say, I'll just do it over here, the number 8, if you need to turn that into a fraction, it becomes 8/1. Okay, so you can easily turn any whole number into a fraction. So we have 5/1 here. Remember, we flip it now, so it becomes 1/5. So we call that the reciprocal. So we just flip it, basically. All right, can I cancel anything? No, there's no number on the top that's the same as the bottom. So I'm going to have to do 3 times 1 for the numerator, and then 8 times 5, which is 40. Now 3 doesn't go into 40, so I can't simplify it any further. I'm going to leave it like that. All right, let's look at question B. Question B, remember we keep the first fraction, and I've already written it as 22/1, so I'll leave it there. Multiply, and we flip the second one, so 15/11. Is there anything that can cancel? There is. This 22 and 11 are kind of like a pair. I know they're not exactly the same number, but 11 goes into 22 2 times. So I can change that 22 to a 2. And then this 11 becomes a 1. Okay, so basically the 22, we can say it's 22/11, becomes 2/1 or 2, but remember we've got to write it as a fraction, so it's 2/1. And now we can write the fraction. So 2 times 15 is 30, 1 times 1 is 1. I'm not going to write divided by 1, so your final answer is 30. All right, I won't do the rest. So have a go at doing the rest if you feel confident. You should basically know that to divide fractions, the process of keeping the fraction, the first fraction the same, then turning the division sign into a multiplication sign, and then changing or flipping the second fraction is basically the process for dividing fractions. And we'll end that video there, and that's it for this worksheet.